You cannot simply close off the path whenever you feel like it. This is a violation of public access.
Blue plastic fencing cut across our lake path like a crime scene. Cold morning air bit my nose. The HOA's cheap solar lights blinked against wet leaves. I smelled mud and damp asphalt and the coffee I hadn't finished. At 6:12 a.m., I stopped short with my dog, Scout, while a woman in a neon vest held up her hand like a traffic cop. "Not allowed," she said, and pointed at a laminated sign zip-tied to the mesh. "Temporary closure. Per board." I looked past her. The water was flat and silver. The path was empty, except for her smug smile and a stack of metal stakes. "This is simple. Karen fenced off the lake path. For 48 hours, you're not allowed here, and she had no idea I'm their sheriff." That's the fight. She claimed the HOA rented the fence for safety during tree work. There were no trucks, no cones, no permits taped to a post. Just Karen, the board's new enforcement chair, clicking her pen and recording faces. She wrote me up as resident 14 for trying to pass. 48 hours, she said. Her watch beeped. "Starts now." I felt that old heat in my chest. Not anger, just the click of a line being crossed. I did the calm thing first. I called the property manager. Voicemail. I emailed the board. Auto reply. I walked over to two neighbors, Mark and Sonny, who lingered with their leashes. They looked down, like kids in the principal's office. "Don't make it worse," Mark whispered. "She called the cops on me last week." I took a breath and tried again with Karen. "Show me the permit and I'll go around." She grinned. "My permit is the board. Timeline item 1, April 5 at 4:27 a.m. "False trespass call," I said, slow and even. "You reported an old vet walking his beagle." She shrugged. "Shouldn't have been on HOA property." People backed away. She was winning the fear game. I don't do fear. I do paper. I promised myself I would use only proper channels. No yelling. No cutting. No sneaking. I went home, set Scout on his bed, and started a plan that clicked into place like a magazine into a duty belt. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. I pulled the plat map out of my file drawer. Public easement runs along the lake. It's a walkway. I filed a public records request with the city clerk at 9:00 a.m. for any temporary closure permits. I logged complaint numbers. 4 from March, 6 from April, 3 this week. At noon, the public records file landed with 63 pages. I flipped to the permits section. Nothing for our HOA, nothing for May 3rd, 2024. Not a single line. By late afternoon, I had my chessboard. The plan was clean. First, I posted a notice on our community site. Lake walk at 6:00 p.m. Bring strollers and smiles. Lawful, peaceful. Second, I emailed the city inspector with the records. Third, I called the non-emergency line and asked for a courtesy standby at 5:50 p.m. I did not tell them my badge number. Not yet. The key law here is simple enough for a fridge magnet. Public easements must stay open unless a permitted safety closure exists. Another plain law line for the binder. Patterns of false reports can be prosecuted. My last step was small and mean only in the way that the truth can be mean. I printed the plat map in color and tabbed it with neon flags. At 5:45 p.m., the evening air smelled like cut grass and barbecue. Families gathered by the fence, phones up. Karen saw the crowd and straightened like a cat. "Turn around," she said. "The board is in executive session." My wife squeezed my hand and went to the front with our neighbor in a wheelchair. The fence blocked the only step-free path to the lake. I looked at my watch. The inspector's sedan rolled up at 5:58 p.m., right behind a patrol car. The officer stepped out. He nodded at me. "Do we have a permit posted, ma'am?" The inspector asked. Karen waved her laminated signs. Same smile. The inspector read them, slow, then looked at the posts. "No permit, no hazard." He turned to the officer. "Please document and request removal." The officer keyed his radio. On cue, I opened my binder to the easement page. In a calm voice that carried, I said the things she didn't know. "Ma'am, I live here. I also serve as our county sheriff on the Lake District rotation. I will not be acting in that role tonight. I am only a resident. But since you have called officers on 11 neighbors in 6 weeks, I'll be providing them with our records." Her smile cracked like old paint. The crowd leaned in. Sonny started filming. Someone laughed. Someone else whispered, "She fenced the sheriff." The officer read the plat map against the hood light. The inspector snapped photos. I watched the board members try to not be seen behind their blinds. In my binder sat a page labeled receipts, and it was heavy with dates. I slid out one copy for the officer and one for the inspector. The best moment was small, when the city truck arrived with bolt cutters. The worker glanced at the inspector, got a nod, and cut the first tie. The fence slumped like a bad idea. The path opened with a clatter, and a little kid on a scooter rolled through to cheers. Phones caught everything. By 8:10 p.m., Sonny's video had 12,000 views and 83 comments. The top one said it all. Karen tried to gatekeep the lake and fenced the wrong neighbor. After that came the flip. Police took statements. The inspector issued a notice of violation to the HOA, not for safety, but for obstructing a public right-of-way. The board president finally stepped out, pale and blinking. He started to blame a miscommunication. I handed him a copy of the public records email. Permits, 0. Complaints, 13 with timestamps. He nodded. Small, the way a kid nods when the teacher knows the answer. The officer asked Karen about the April calls. She said those people were trespassing. He tapped the easement on the map. Not on this section, ma'am. He also added, and his pen paused there, patterns of false reports can be prosecuted. The board asked to meet Monday. I said I'd attend as a resident. I kept my badge in my pocket and my voice level. Monday night at 7:00 p.m., the board met in the clubhouse. Packed room. The video played on a loop on a big TV, laughter in the back. The HOA attorney cleared his throat. He recommended a censure and removal of enforcement duties. He also recommended reimbursing the city for the crew and paying the rental company's bill without using dues. The board voted 5-0. Karen was stripped of her title and fined $1,200 by the city for obstruction. She had to repay the HOA $490 for the fence and write a public apology by Friday. The file with the decision and the inspector's photos ran to 21 pages. She stared at the table and didn't speak. The path is open now. Mornings smell like pine again. Kids ride bikes. Older folks lean on the rail and point at turtles. Peace feels like a bench with room for two. I walk scout at sunrise. Mark waves now. Sunny brings muffins to the cleanup days. Karen keeps her distance, but last week she picked up litter with us. She didn't look at me. That's fine. I don't need enemies. I need rules followed. I'm proud I used the channels the right way. No yelling, no stunts. Just proof, process, and patience. It took 48 hours. It felt longer. But when the fence fell and the lake opened, the whole neighborhood breathed out. Please follow for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below.